Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum continues to stress the need for more testing at nursing homes where COVID-19 seems to be the most impactful. But one facility in the state has refused the free testing offered by the state. It's a facility in West Fargo. Valley News Team's Joshua Peguero tells you which one and tries to find out why.
Governor Doug Burgum outlined a goal to have all long-term care facilities tested for COVID-19 by May 15.
Particularly as it relates to long-term care, where we know we've got challenges in long-term care as the nation does.
But a facility in West Fargo was called out by the governor Monday for refusing free tests from the Department of Health. In emails to Valley News Live, state health officials say the facility, New Perspective Senior Living, has refused twice. Burgum says 50 long-term care facilities have at least one person that tested positive.
You've got both residents and staff coming and going back to their homes and families and back in, that it's very hard to try to drive that virus out of those facilities.
The nursing home refused to make anyone available for an on-camera interview to answer some questions, but they do say in a statement there's a misunderstanding with the Department of Health and with Governor Doug Burgum. New Perspective is headquartered in Minnesota with several facilities spread throughout the upper Midwest. In a statement to Valley News Live, the company says it has not refused testing for residents, tenants, and staff who wish to be tested. They also say they're working with the health department on a facility-wide testing and have requested additional information. Yet the company declined to answer questions why refused testing, as the health department says, and didn't respond to subsequent calls. Nursing homes across the country have been hit hard by COVID-19. Cass County has the highest totals of long-term care facilities with COVID-19, with Villa Maria and Rosewood on Broadway leading the state. In West Fargo, Joshua Peguero, Valley News Live.
Now, we did reach out again to the North Dakota Health Department to see if New Perspective in West Fargo has scheduled a date for testing after twice refusing. We have yet to hear back. In North Dakota, the total number of cases now sits at 1,712. That's an increase of 65 cases from yesterday. 1,007 people are now listed as recovered in the state, meaning there are 705 active cases. No new deaths have been reported. Minnesota has confirmed there have been over 13,000 COVID-19 cases in the state. The total stands at 13,435. That's an increase of 518 from the day before. 25 more deaths have been reported, bringing the total number in Minnesota to 663. 9 deaths are still listed as probable, even though a positive test result isn't on file. 9,136 people are listed as being recovered. Well, besides the wind, not too much to worry about for most of the valley. There is a trouble spot in the northern part. Let's go to Hutch, who's here to explain in our First Alert Thursday night weather planner. Hutch?
Yes, most of us will have to just hold on to our hair and not have to worry too much about showers, but we do have some thunderstorms capable of some hail. In fact, we got reports in Roseau of a quarter inch of rainfall along with some small hail. These storms now moving into Lake of the Woods County, one just south of Roseau. These are drifting slowly to the northeast, up to half-inch diameter hail from this cell as it moves off to the east towards Baudette in the upcoming 45 minutes. Speaking of Baudette, we had some rolling clouds rolling through the area a while ago. Jenna capturing those ominous-looking clouds. Here's a look at Grand Forks, home of economy camera right now. We keep our eyes on the skies. Funnels are possible tonight, but that risk is waning. The wind finally relents a little bit, Mike, as we get beyond sunset, but be prepared for gusty conditions as temperatures slip back into the 40s tonight. In Grand Forks, a little cooler. I'll have details on some much quieter and better weather as we close out the work week coming up here in mere moments.
Quieter and better, that would be good. Thanks. The 2 men in custody surrounding that deadly North Fargo shooting have now been formally charged, and authorities say it was a drug deal gone wrong. The charges against 21-year-old Rang A-Young include murder, conspiracy to commit robbery, theft, and unlawful possession of a firearm. 28-year-old Daryl Simmons is charged with conspiracy to commit robbery and conspiracy to deliver meth. We also learned today that the car that they were in and crashed was stolen in Dilworth. Simmons later telling police that he and the man killed, Anquin White, were trying to buy meth from A-Young. When Simmons got out to get the drugs from the trunk of that car, it took off through the Northport Hornbacher's parking lot. Simmons says gunshots came from the back seat as the car drove away and then crashed. 15 shell casings were recovered at the scene. A charge has been formally filed against the man accused in an assault earlier this week in Baker, Minnesota. Stephen Krogsgaard could face up to 20 years in prison if he's found guilty of assault. The victim of that assault is currently in a Fargo hospital listed in critical condition. Authorities say the victim and Krogsgaard were roommates and that Krogsgaard was told he had to move out. A fight broke out where Krogsgaard is said to have hit the victim, causing severe injuries, including a torn pancreas, a broken rib, and trauma to the face, head, and chest. You can read more on this story on the VNL News app. Canada and the United States are working on an agreement to extend the closing of the border to non-essential travel during the coronavirus pandemic. President Donald Trump has said that the U.S.-Canadian border will be among the first borders to open and that the U.S. and Canada are doing well in handling the pandemic. The North Dakota Department of Transportation opened its offices across the state this week. More than 1,200 people have already made appointments during the pandemic, and each day remains booked. Like everyone who's made an appointment, they're learning that the next trip to the site may be different. Officials say you'll need to take a health screening.
One of our employees will go through a question and answer sheet that goes over whether or not a person has traveled outside of the U.S., if they've felt any symptoms.
The questions are followed by a temperature check to ensure all employees and staff are protected. Now, if you're planning on taking a driver's license test, officials are asking that you bring a mask and gloves. And Wallstead adds that there are days set aside for those 65 years of age and older. To learn more about more of these days and times, visit the Valley News Live app. We're now hearing from families who have suffered through that mysterious illness in children linked to the coronavirus. This as cases and concern mount from coast to coast. Kristen Dahlgren has the very latest details.
The CDC set to issue an urgent alert to doctors nationwide as NBC News found at least 17 states with suspected cases of pediatric multisystem inflammatory syndrome, a life-threatening disease believed to be linked to COVID-19. New York State investigating more than 100 cases of the rare illness. The governor saying he will now prioritize tests for children showing symptoms like fever, rash, and severe abdominal pain.
If your child has been exposed to someone who had COVID, even if it was several weeks ago, that is a special alert in this situation.
In late April, 4-year-old Amelia developed a fever, chills, and lost her appetite.
She could barely move. She told me that she felt like an old lady inside.
Just a week later, she was on a ventilator and under an induced coma in the ICU at Advocate Children's Hospital in Chicago. Her pregnant mother, Alicia, unable to go see her.
You know, to not be able to put the hands on your child when they're in need.
At the hospital, Amelia tested positive for coronavirus antibodies, despite testing negative for the virus twice before.
Our kids were sick. Our kids had it, and we had no idea.
Amelia's doctor saying this shows just how little we know about COVID-19.
It's almost like fixing the airplane while you're trying to fly it.
In Oregon, 14-year-old Leah Lopez first developed red eyes, a fever, and searing abdominal pain.
On a scale of 1 to 10, it was probably like a 10.
By the time she got to the hospital, her condition had dramatically shifted.
She was in fairly severe cardiac failure.
Leah didn't know anybody who had coronavirus, but later tested positive for antibodies.
What it makes us realize is that it can happen to any child at any time, and we need to be prepared.
Doctors also say that most children seem to respond to treatment. In New York State, more than half of the children hospitalized have now gone home. Tyson Foods will temporarily cut prices this week for some beef products it sells to supermarkets, restaurants, and other food retailers by 20 to 30%. The move comes despite surging prices caused by virus outbreaks at meatpacking plants. Tyson processes a fifth of the nation's beef. Wholesale prices for ground beef has topped $6 a pound, more than triple the cost at the beginning of March. Later on Valley News Live at 6, a birthday celebration. We're going to tell you the story of how a North Dakota woman marked her 100th life on this planet.
Don't adjust your screens. That's what it looked like first thing this morning from our tower cam. Some low clouds and fog in the Fargo area. We blew that out of here. It's been a windy day. Temperatures cool to start, but we are warming up. I'll have those sizzling details coming up right after this.